We're coming to you live from the traveling Built Ford Tough studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Thursday morning. Live once again from the Blue Wire studios here at Wynn, Las Vegas. Yesterday could have been the most ridiculous in a good way day of my life. Having been on set with Drew Barrymore and Ross Matthews at the Drew Barrymore show, and then going up to the wonderful Summit Club to play 18 with you and Jerry. And thanks to Mike Meldman and thanks to Casamigos, who set us up at one of the nicest places on earth, quite frankly. And we were so very appreciative of that. But I was sitting at the bar at the Italian restaurant with Stephen Waldron and Sean Kennedy last night at CBS Sports, like detailing how ridiculous of a day that was. And I don't think I'm ever going to be able to recreate that. I got to be honest with you, Boomer. That was an all-time day here at the Super Bowl. I know this happens to you a lot. You have these all-time 18-hour crazy days where you feel like you're living in a movie, but I do not. And the only thing that I missed, I was happy for the fellas, but I was upset for me, is I missed out on sitting next to a legend at dinner last night. One of my favorite all-time sports figures, the great Mark Davis, was eating dinner in close proximity to Eddie, Al, and Gina last night. And it was at an Asian fusion place, which is like, honestly, it's like seeing the polar bear jump into the water at the zoo. Like, you don't normally get that. And you got it. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. I'm a little tired today, to say the least. I mean, that was an 18-hour day yesterday.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. Yeah. It was straight 1:50 in the morning to basically 7:50 to 8:15 last night. I mean, it was just nonstop. And you're right, man. Mike Meldman and Casamigos, thank you so much, because it was quite an experience. So we play at this golf course called Summit Club, 3,500 feet up in the desert, and there are mountains all around it. There are snow-capped mountains all around it. We got a beautiful 53-degree day with sun, a great golf course, great clubhouse, really nice people that couldn't have been any nicer for us. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful day. Now, before that, I was wondering which Gio I was going to get at Drew Barrymore's show, whether it was going to be conforming Gio or it was going to be the Gio that, at times can get a little bit feisty here on our show.
Yeah.
And I remember we were talking about this as we were going over to the show. Are we bringing our radio show to their TV show? Which we felt like, let's not do that.
This is their turf. This is not our turf.
And then their TV show actually is just like our radio show, just maybe some different subject matter.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're checking out guys' asses. They are basically talking about women going into sports bars, meeting guys.
Yep.
I mean, it was all kind of the same thing that we talk about here normally.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that it's quicker, and there's a prompter from one segment to the next, but that's basically it. I mean, they're talking about buffet food and sneezing in the buffet and everything else. It was incredible. And they asked us to do the whole show too. That was a surprise when we got there. We thought we were doing one segment, and then we show up and the producer goes, "Yeah, you're going to be here for the whole show, if that's okay." I'm like, "That's okay. Of course it's okay." So the entire show that will air, Drew Barrymore show on CBS, 9:30 this morning. You could check it out, and we will be on for a full half hour.
Right. So here's the thing. I don't know if you felt this. There were a couple of things I think we were feeling.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There's just a sense that you have of the environment around you, what's going on. As we're doing squats right now, working on our butts. But I mean, so you and I start the interview.
Yeah.
And I felt like the first 4 questions all came to me.
They did. Yeah.
And you were just kind of like sitting there.
I was. Yeah, it was a
right, so we both were on the same page with that.
Yeah, it was a loiter spot. Yeah, but I'm used to that, and I figured that, and I knew that I was going to have my opportunities. I wasn't sitting there thinking, "Oh man, I hope they talk to me." I mean, I knew I was here the whole show.
I actually got you in.
Yeah.
I got Gio involved.
That is true.
Because I felt like after 3 questions, now wait a minute, you're just sitting there like this.
Yeah, I know.
Like, all right, so let me get Gio involved here.
I was going to start scrolling on my phone, just sitting through Instagram.
And then.
Yeah.
So, of course, it gets to Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
So, you guys, I'm all in for this. I think this is great. I think it's great. He and She and Travis, it's great for the league. It's great for ratings. It's great for crossing over pop culture. It's great for young daughters who are Swifties and their dads now to watch the game and have something to bond together with. So my man here decides.
Well, hold on. I don't know how you're going to describe this, but I'll tell you the way I did it is I sent out a test balloon. To see how it went over. So now you go ahead and give your perspective.
So basically, he was blaming angry football fans that have Taylor Swift overload.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He didn't say he had it.
Yeah.
He put the test balloon out there saying, I think that, football fans in general are, exhausted with all of the oversaturation of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and their romance and everything else. And I was looking at Drew, who was sitting to my right, and she looked at Gio, and it was almost like they were married for 35 years. And, that death stare that you would get.
Oh, I felt it.
If she had lasers out of her eyeballs, he would not be sitting here today. He would have been disintegrated on set by the way that he was going at it. And then the way that she ended the set, I thought was very smart.
Yeah. So after she gives me this look that pierced my soul, she goes, well, I think that a love story at the Super Bowl is probably the greatest thing ever. All right, let's go to a break. And I'm like, I agree, Drew. So anyway, tell me about E.T.
Yeah.
It was that was something else. Man, thank God I didn't go any deeper into that because I might have been thrown right off the set at that point.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you stepped right into it, man. And I was wondering how you were going to do it, but the way that you phrased it, it wasn't like it was coming from you, but you were speaking on behalf of others.
Yeah.
I got that. I don't know if she got that.
Yeah, I think it was fine. She got over it quickly because we had a great conversation about a bunch of other stuff after that. But yeah, in that moment, she was not pleased. But I talked to one of the producers prior to the show that had listened to all of our discussion about going on the show and what type of Taylor Swift discussion would come from me. And she said, I think that you give a little bit of the negativity, but really don't go in hard. But you can give a little bit of yourself.
Man, I'll tell you.
But she goes, if you go too far, she's like, they will come for you.
I don't think she was meaning the Swifties. I think she was meaning Ross.
No. She meant
Drew.
She meant the Swifties.
Oh, she meant the Swifties.
Yeah. It meant the Swifties.
I mean, it was it was pretty funny.
No, it was. And then all of a sudden, I felt like a TV guy because that Ross Matthews was such a pro with like reading all the stuff that I was watching him, and there was a point where the monitor had gone out for him where the teleprompter was, and he's like, no problem, I'll just read it off the jib. So then there's this jib camera that moves and that also has the teleprompter on it. So he just does that. So then the same thing happens to me when we're in the middle of this segment. I have to read a headline that the teleprompter goes out. I immediately went to the jib.
You were
just like that.
Total professional.
Right to the jib. Started reading it off the jib.
By the way, that's exactly what JB does all day Sunday.
Yeah.
It's those kinds of the read-ins, the lead-outs, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens with him, and he has a script in front of him. So sometimes he'll have to look down at the script to make sure that he's following exactly what he's supposed to be saying. So I actually thought for the first time yesterday for you, I could see a future. I could see, possibly sitting in and hosting for, Under the Weather JB. I could see that.
Under the Weather JB. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think JB is. Has JB ever missed a show? Maybe one. There was one time he was sick in the last 6 years that we worked together, I think.
He might have, because
I remember you had to open the show.
Yeah, I don't know why I opened that show. There was another show where he got very, very emotional about one of the pieces that we had done. And when we had come back from it, I was looking at him because he and I can look eye to eye with each other the way that we sit.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and he was all teared up.
Really?
Yeah. And he could not speak. So I had to quickly jump into action.
Wow.
Take over the prompter for that particular segment. I think it was a segment on Chris Henry. Remember the wide receiver for the Bengals who ended up dying in a car accident? He was on the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, and we did a whole thing with his family, and I think there was some organ donation that was going on, and JB just couldn't handle, just delivering the news in that regard, because it was just so close to when Chris had died. So he was very emotional.
Yeah, so that's what I'll do. I'll hang around the NFL today for like the rest of, next year. I'll start week 1. And then when JB gets emotional, I can just pop right in and read off the jib.
Right.
That's what I'll do.
The other thing, too, I mean, there's really no controversy out here whatsoever, except for the practice field that the 49ers are on. And it is a thing. They are completely ticked off that they have to practice at UNLV on this. But I guess they're just not happy about how soft it is and how soggy it is.
What's funny is this has become a thing, obviously, the last couple of days. There's also nothing else going on for the Super Bowl. But when Andy Reid was interviewed immediately after the AFC Championship game win, one of the first things he said, this might have even been on the field or was in the post-game news conference, it stuck out to me. He goes, and we're going to be the home team, which means that we get the Raiders facility, which is going to be great. Like, that was one of the first things that came out of his mouth. And I thought to myself, I was like, wow. I mean, that must mean a lot to him, that for him to mention it, because the other place, it probably sucks.
Well, I mean,
it turns out that the 49ers can't stand it.
It's the UNLV practice facility. And, you have the Raiders practice facility, which is a legitimate pro football setup. Over at UNLV, I think they had to bring grass in and put it on top of the turf, I think.
Yeah, it's spongy or whatever.
Right, it's spongy and it's soft. And, I'm looking at it, and there's been a lot of rain here.
Yeah.
So that probably also has something to do with it. But, as we're watching the Chiefs right now at the Raider facility, so they look like they're pretty happy and going along about their business. And then you take a look at, what the 49ers are dealing with. It has become a very, very volatile issue within the NFL. That I can tell you.
Yeah, but this is now 2 years in a row that there have been field issues. Now, this is a practice field issue. I don't believe that we're going to get a game field issue, but who knows, because we didn't think we were going to get that last year. This is 2 years in a row that there are major complaints about fields during the biggest week of the NFL season.
Yeah, I would also think that, because of what happened last year, that the NFL will do their damnedest to make sure that this field brought in, and that has been planted here and it was grown here, will be in tip-top shape. The question is, will it be a tight field, meaning will it be a slippery field? And the people that usually affects the most, the defenders. And that was the complaint coming from the Eagles last year.
Right, and they still, the 49ers referenced MetLife Stadium and when all those guys got hurt. I think Rob Saleh was still the defensive coordinator when all those guys got hurt in that one game at MetLife Stadium, and that's been referenced, so that's in their heads. And who knows if they're not running as hard as they would during practice or being extra careful or whatever. I don't know if that's going to translate over to the game or not, but these teams, they love to have the underdog mentality, and neither one of these teams really is a true underdog because they're so good. Now, the Chiefs were an underdog for the first time ever in the postseason with the Bills and the Ravens, and I bet against them stupidly. So they've played that thing. The 49ers were always in everybody's Super Bowl.
Best roster.
Yeah, exactly. From the get-go. But now this is their thing. Even though they're the technical favorite in the game, this is now their thing. Like, they're screwing us. We got to fight through this. The Chiefs got this cushy little practice facility thing. This is now their chip on the shoulder situation.
Just stop the run on Isaiah Pacheco. See if you can do that first and foremost, because they couldn't do it against the Lions or the Packers. By the way, I have to say, your golf game has vastly, vastly improved.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, to the point where you're almost ready. I mean, you play fast.
Yeah.
You hit a couple drives yesterday that I was like, I hadn't seen you do that before. I did not wear jeans on the golf course yesterday. Yeah. I saw that in my X feed. I don't know why people think that those were jeans. I mean, those are not jeans.
It looks like it in the picture a little bit. I can understand why people thought that, but if you see it in person, they're not even. It doesn't even.
It's not jeans, man. I would never wear jeans to a golf course.
Right? No,
especially a golf course that nice.
And you actually could at that place because there's no rules. But no, those were not jeans. I've got your back on that. 100% not jeans. The caddy told us we could play without a shirt on if we wanted to.
Well, that would have been a little bit radical yesterday, given the fact that it was like 50 degrees.
What a great word, radical. It definitely would have been radical. But yeah, no, that was. I
notice that Jerry always wears those black pants that are oversized. I think he's got pants that are too wide and too long, and he always wears those pants.
He does the MC Hammer pants. Is what he wears on the car.
Yeah, they're like balloon pants. Yes.
And when the wind catches him in a certain way, he looks like one of those hang gliders. Those guys, the wingsuit guys that fly through the air.
The other thing I would also say is this morning, for the first time, I did see quite a few mutants hanging around. Not us right now. I'm just talking about around the bar, and the ladies of the evening are out now.
Yeah, I did see that. I saw. I wanted to ask them just straight up, just so I had something to talk about if they were, but I was like, it could be offensive. But there were two when I was coming out of the elevator that I would have put money on. Like if FanDuel Sportsbook had like a live betting, is this a prostitute or not? I would have clicked like yes, -110. You
could tell that Las Vegas is starting to swell now.
Yeah. Well, look at these guys out here having a great time.
Those guys having a good time. There they are. Yes.
These are like young, finely coiffed gentlemen.
Yes. This guy's got a nice trim beard.
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah. And these guys are having a great time out in Las Vegas. This is what you want to see. Guys like this wrapping up their night.
You think those are the types of guys that those two women who were looking for husbands and we're going into sports bars that we were talking about yesterday on Drew Barrymore, those are the types of guys we're talking about?
I mean, just by first glance through the glass here, I think so.
I think they're well off. You got some good money. You guys got some coin. They got
coin.
They got coin.
Yes. He has a nice watch.
Yes, right. They got some coin.
You guys are just coming in for the night, right? I mean, this is not, you're not up. No. Oh, you're still going. Oh, wow. These guys, see this, they're squeezing out every drop of this trip, and good for them. So enjoy, fellas.
3:17 here in the morning. So.
Yeah.
But when I came downstairs at around 2:20, it was like, whoa.
Yeah, you're starting to see. They're starting to roll in. Mutants are starting to roll in. Mutant alert.
I mean, it was, oof.
I know, it is something.
I mean, you have to negotiate people walking.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think they know where they're walking to.
That elevator situation in this hotel is tremendous, but when it's busy and there's two lanes and everybody's you got to hit your card, it gets crazy, especially when I was going up with the golf clubs. I'd knocked someone out yesterday, turning around because they were flying around the corner. I was like, I'm sorry, jeez. But it gets a little confusing. But anyway, big thanks to everybody yesterday, and the crew at the Drew Barrymore show couldn't have been nicer. They were legit excited we were there. Drew and Ross were so kind. That was just that was awesome. I want to thank everybody again for that, because who knows? You show up at a situation like that, they could probably, it's TV. We're talking A-list people. You know what I'm saying?
And we're talking Giannotti.
Yeah, right.
I think this could be a couple of times a year spot. Like a big sports story, 3 times a year. You guys
but it
just
shouldn't
go
have to
up
be
down.
Sports with us. We could
Sure not.
We could do butt lift exercises. We could talk about buffet food, because Ross loves a good buffet.
He does. Yeah, he does.
I'm not a big buffet guy. I actually grabbed his hand and sneezed in it. And I said, now go eat.
But her audience might love today's show, and then you're on 3 times a year.
Our audience may hate today's show.
No,
never be seen again.
No, I don't think so. And maybe they get a little bump in the numbers with our audience flipping over. Maybe they get that and they see that and they hit a male demo they haven't hit before. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, it's the 4 of us every day. Oh. Boomer and Gio right into Drew Barrymore. Drew, Ross, Boomer and Gio. CBS 930.